Breaking news. 2 U.S. corrections officers have been arrested in connection with the Epstein murder. They were offered a plea agreement to rat out their associates, and they refused to do so. And in the indictment, we're learning quite a few mysterious circumstances indeed. The guards in questions were only 15 feet away from Epstein, and for some reason were watching the computer screen and just staying in their little room 15 feet away for like 12 hours. And it seems like perhaps they were sleeping, perhaps they were pretending, but it looks like they secured the scene for the action. Now we're learning that one of the guards that was arrested, Michael Thomas, was the prison's warehouse manager and in charge of laundry, in charge of everything going in and in charge of delivering goods to the prisoners, including snacks and the like. So this guy was on somebody's black book for getting things in and out of the facility, and now he doesn't want to talk. And there's cameras that were turned off, unusable. Check out the headlines for yourselves. So they turned down the plea agreement. They won't rat out on their partners. 2 cameras went out. The cellmate was moved the day of, literally. And, there's a long list of other irregularities. But this guy, Michael Thomas, just happened to work a shift as Epstein's guard. That wasn't his regular job. He was the delivery guy. So, seems like he made it happen, and now he won't talk, and it's only going to get more wild from there. Who did it? Who had the most to lose in the Epstein murder investigation and the sex trafficking investigations? Well, seems like everybody was pretty much implicated. Past presidents, current presidents, as well as people from the UK. Seems like they've got quite a bit invested in this as well. We saw that disastrous interview just a few days ago. So who did it? What we've got are the foot soldiers on the ground that are going to be able to answer these questions, but they're probably going to disappear like Epstein. Soon they're going to be found murdered or missing, or perhaps on the same island as Epstein. There's no telling where Epstein is right now. The problem with the television these days is that it's so crooked. As crooked as the politicians. It's all part of the script. And, you may not like where the facts lead us here, ladies and gentlemen, but they're the facts nonetheless. And, let's not dwell on that. Who did it? Who had the most to lose? What's going on out there is the question, but it's all rigged. Every one of them, even in these impeachment hearings today, they were all just basically asking themselves, the questions according to the script. And no matter how hard you fight, this play is going to play out regardless of what you do. The Titanic is sinking, and by looking at the witnesses today from the VP's office, I think many people are thinking the coup might be going deeper. Of course, everybody seems to be connected to the Russia desk, like Peter Strzok, counter intel Russia desk at the FBI. These people all work in the Russia desk, and the State Department 7th floor. All of it was never cleared out. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these holdovers were left in there to play their role, and that way we can feel sorry for, our beloved president, who's just going down with the ship. but it's part of the script. And at the end of the day, there'll be no Republican Party left. That's the plan. I guarantee it. There'll be no conservatives left. Everybody will be just scattered for various reasons. We'll leave that for another broadcast. But the entire television is rigged. It's 24/7 product placement for the devil. They spin the story convenient to their truth, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, their version of the story is the dark side. And just wait until they roll out their final solution. You're getting a taste of it now with the death towers, the GMOs, the pesticides, the terraforming, the vaccines, the drug crisis, the zombies, and the like, the disastrous education system, and pretty much every other system. You're just getting a taste of what's coming now. But the worst thing anybody can do at this stage is to buy into what the television is trying to sell you. And this impeachment, story is just part of the cover-up, just part of the bread and circus. They don't want you talking about the big picture. Whether it be the Epstein case or the DNC emails, Seth Rich, the WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. They don't really want you talking about any of that. Instead, they're going after the whistleblowers, and they're just shooting themselves in the foot again. The biggest mistake this administration obviously ever did was to keep these holdovers, and it's only getting worse, and you just can't imagine anybody doing that willingly. It has to be part of the script. They didn't, lock Hillary up, and they just basically sabotaged themselves, and everybody's going, no. In any case, what about Epstein? What about these guards? It's a big story. And this indictment proves that many people were involved in this criminal affair at the MCC facility in New York. And with all of the circumstances, there's no doubt that this should be reopened as a murder investigation. Perhaps that's what's going on right now. But if you can count on anything, is that these people will cover it up if you don't hound them 24/7. And so people should, keep putting out memes and talking about the Epstein case. Obviously, when people work together in a blockchain kind of effect, things can happen in the real world. The television reacts. They're like, we fired this one, now there's a new one. They fired Comey, it's okay. Now it's okay. But nothing's changed, ladies and gentlemen. They switched AGs, nothing's changed. They've switched pretty much everybody. Nothing's changed. Hillary is not in prison. Obama is ISIS, is not in prison. They haven't reopened 9/11. They haven't looked at these WMDs in Iraq. They haven't undone anything since 9/11. And that's really where we need to be. Back in the pre-9/11 world, before they start plugging people into the matrix, before everybody transitions into something else, into some sort of abomination. And of course, the schools, the television, they're promoting just that. In any case, if you're just joining us, the big breaking news out there, 2 guards from the MCC prison, and this is a federal prison, have been arrested, charged with, conspiracy, as well as a long list of other crimes. For the time being, that's it. But it seems like they refused the plea agreement, and what we're hearing is that they didn't want to rat out on their co-conspirators. And so these guards, which are not pictured here, are not pictured anywhere. There's no profile. They're totally scrubbed. It's like they don't even exist. Who are these people? But what we're learning from the indictment is that this guy that just happened to show up for this shift. Seemed like a fixer. The perfect job for smuggling in contraband. He would have been on somebody's black book. They called him up, says, "Hey, we got a job for you." "No problem, I'll just slip in as a guard. Overtime, bitches. Double pay." So we know that obviously this was planned in advance, and there's probably some coordination with the movement of the cellmate, whether that was legit or not. They waited for that day, flipped the cameras, they secured the location, and somebody else must have come in, undoubtedly another prison guard with the keys, the know-how, the badges. Somebody on the inside snuffed Epstein out, and we're learning that the prison guards were complicit, and so there must be many more people involved, a huge money trail, bagmen. They'll be writing Tom Clancy style conspiracy novels on this one. And this should be the biggest story, because when you think of everything that came out since 2016, the child rapes, the abductions, all the stories in the Pizzagate, the WikiLeaks, everything that came out, there was no justice for that. People kept at it. Finally, they arrested Epstein, and it all comes out, the dirty pictures, everything, and then they whack him. Confirms everything. Just all of a sudden, everybody's suspicions were vindicated. They laughed at you for 2 years. You had InfoWars apologize to Pizza Comet. Remember that? Look at that. Everybody was vindicated. There was no reason to say I'm sorry. The evidence was overwhelming. There's an orgy of evidence out there. What are people waiting for? You got cult members. You've got, people that have been body snatched by the demonic running the show out there. They're poisoning your food, your air, your water. They're trying to ban the Bible. And they want to turn everybody into some sort of transition gay frog. And you want to debate? What do you want to debate? What do you think these people are going to do next? Oh, they'll start World War III. They'll trash the planet. They'll do whatever they can, and along the way they'll be raping and abducting more children. And of course, since they own the schools and the government, they'll be, indoctrinating your kids, grooming your kids to be the best, that they can be. Dark-sidedly. And there's nothing worse than the dark side, the complete absence of light. It's the perpetual cynic. It's the, the type, the sociopath. The neighbor from hell. You never get rid of these people. They never go away, and they just always lie to you. And this is why we're never going to go anywhere as a country until something is done. And something must be done, ladies and gentlemen. And getting to the heart of this case is going to be key. Of course, there are many people out there still, co-conspirators, like the Ghislaine Maxwell type, that have, many pieces of this puzzle, many names and places. And you can bet she's, the world's most wanted girl right now. And rightfully so, in a sense. And rightfully so that she's hiding. I mean, you wouldn't want to be that girl right now either. You wouldn't want to be any of these people. And yet here they are. They've sold their souls, to the devil. They're jumping off the cliff, and they want to take everybody with them. And it's surprising to see how many people are jumping into the flames of hell so that they can sell out and sell their souls. What is it that they want so bad with all of their propaganda? If they want it so bad, maybe you should think about keeping it out there. And the key to keeping it, of course, is in the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever wondered to yourself, where do we come from? Where, oh where, did humanity begin? You remember that story of devolution in schools, don't you? You came from primordial soup, and then you evolved from bacteria into whatever we are today. Scientifically impossible, according to scientists. Seems like the video guy is on strike. We do apologize. Video guy is not happy, but that's besides the point. You heard of primordial soup. You think you evolved from bacteria. And what scientists have known for quite some time is even bacteria requires DNA to survive. Megabytes of information. Life can only come from life. That's the law of biogenesis. They don't teach you the law of biogenesis in school. They teach you theories on devolution. You know who Darwin was? You don't know anything about Darwin. Dark side. Darwin. 6 letters to the name. You'll see that type of numerology everywhere these Luciferians roll. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, it's the epic struggle of good versus evil out there. People need to act accordingly. And what happened to Epstein is just another example of what's going on out there. Now there's just too much to deny. You know, after 9/11, I mean, everybody should have been awake. There's no reason that people should be sleeping 17 years after 9/11. If you encounter somebody that looks at you funny when you start talking about the terraforming or the Death Towers, you know, these people are fucking cult members plugged into the Matrix. They're possessed by demons and they need an exorcism. That's what you're dealing with, and nothing else will do. You know, and trying to speak, you know, anything to these people is like throwing your pearls before swine. To a certain extent. I mean, not everybody's a lost soul out there, but at this stage of the game, I mean, unless they're, you know, still, you know, in the clutches of the public schools, there's really no excuse for people. You know, people that are over 30 years old should definitely be awake by now. And if they're not, they're probably not ever going to wake up. They're happy where they're at. They're the ones defending the Matrix. They're the ones that are fighting you. Who do you think these people are? You can tell them by their fruits, ladies and gentlemen. And anybody that, you know, erects death towers and tells you, you know, it's fucking wonderful news is out of their minds. And we can't recommend enough knowing what you're getting exposed to. Check out the EMF 390 for only $109 on our website, stfnreport.com. Brings you directly to the manufacturer at our affiliate price. And look, I mean, this thing will tell you what's going on from 0 to 10 gigahertz, a much broader bandwidth, if you will, broader range than most other meters out there. And you know, it's the best bang for the buck. Definitely check that out. Compare, shop around. We dare you. Get a meter. You'll thank us for doing so, because what you're being exposed to is much worse than you might think. And many of these towers are running, you know, illicitly. Either they're not, you know, they don't have a permit, or they're running above FCC limits to compete with the towers, you know, down the street. You'd be surprised what you're getting dosed with. You'd be surprised, you know, how bad it is, where the death traps are. And, you know, it might sound convenient and self-serving to sell you an instrument to make you aware of your surroundings, but it is a useful tool. And, you know, many people out there are useful tools for the dark side as soon as they start buying into the television. And you may love your favorite character on, you know, on the soaps, you know, on the news, on, you know, whatever you watch out there. But these people are all fucking, you know, sold out shills, cult members, devil worshippers, possessed by demons. 100%. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the TV. It's that exclusive. It's that monopolized. Pretty much like, you know, who gets viewed on socialist media platforms, it's all controlled. And if you're seeing them, you know, in mass, it's because there's a demon in them. You know, that's the high probability. You know, it's either that or these people are genuinely working, to deliver you some sort of utopia. That is not the case. We'll leave it there for this broadcast. I think we covered most of the news, but the headline is pretty remarkable, to say the least. And we've got 2 prison guards arrested in connection with the murder of Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, the impeachment hearings continue, and while some of these some of these witnesses might seem interesting, they're all remnants of this deep state apparatus, and it's part of the coup, but this coup is part of the script. And this president that's going down with the ship is just basically going according to script. He's not defending himself, he's just talking the talk. There was something we wanted to point out from the press conference, from the Situation Room, and he's basically ragging on the media, saying that there's no free speech anymore. And then he's like, I hope they clean up their act. And that was it. He hopes they clean up their act. After this many years, there's impeachment hearings on the fucking television. You hope they're going to clean up their act. No, this guy is committing suicide on purpose. And it's part of the script. Guaranteed. No other explanation. Nobody can be this, impotent in the office of the president. And, Epstein had, pictures of everybody. We're getting reports that in the mansion there were cameras tricked out everywhere. And it was all part of the, the gig. Get these, to get the compromat on everyone. All sorts of billionaires and trillionaires and princes and, that was his business. And there's no telling how well networked everything is, but in the sense of a party house, everything off the books. So we'll just have to see where the story goes. There's new accusers, victims coming out, and the numbers, the ages are getting younger and younger, and people should remember that there were pictures of naked children, real young, in these residences. So it wasn't just supermodels going in and out, and it wasn't just 18, 19, 20-year-old wannabe masseuses out there. So there's a lot of reason to be concerned, and again, this really just confirms the Pizzagate and all that stuff. Check out stfnreport.com. Support our broadcasts. Video guy is not happy. If you happen to want to show your support, be sure to check out patreon.com/STF News. Or get a meter. You'll be glad you did at stfnreport.com. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.